Okay, so step one, we're going to load Google Chrome, and then we're going to go to the myViewBoard website, myviewboard.com, and sign in with our user account. Okay, so I'm signing in as myViewSonic Europe. And then once you're signed in, you will see this dashboard. This is our homepage, our web portal for myViewBoard ecosystem. So let's get started. So the first thing that I'm going to need to do is click on this icon here to actually get us access into the new classroom. And this will go to myviewboard.com/vhost. Now, when you're initially loaded into the classroom environment, you will see this blank canvas. So if you want to use a video camera, so you want to do an online lesson, you need to first go down to this bottom camera icon here and press on that. Once that's been clicked, you will see the video camera should then start to appear. And in this example here, we can see that there's no camera. And the reason for this is that we need to check our settings. So in Google Chrome, you will see that in the address bar here, we have a camera icon. This camera icon is where we determine the settings for the classroom setup. So this will be the browser settings for your microphone and your camera. So I can see the problem here. The problem on this one is that I'm actually using the integrated camera here and my laptop is actually closed. So you cannot see my camera. So what I will do is press on Manage. This will take me to the site settings of Google Chrome. And then I want to choose my camera and actually determine which camera I want to use. So in this example, I'm going to actually select the Logitech Brio as my camera device. And then what I'm going to do here is hit the refresh button. So I'm going to reload the page after I've made the changes to my camera. So let's see what happens. Okay, same again, we have the blank canvas. Let's click on the camera icon and hopefully now this will actually allow us to load our camera. Okay, so that's now loaded up. You can see me on the camera. So that's how you get the camera set up. Same is also applicable for your microphone settings. Press on the Manage button. You can actually access your settings directly from there. Okay, so at the moment we have a session, we have our camera connected, but how do we actually invite the students? So to invite students, you need to click on this arrow over in the top right hand corner of the interface. This will then show you your session ID. If you click on that, you can then see that you can share this to your students. So we have a QR code, a login code, and also a unique URL. If you click on this once, you'll see it will be copied, and then you can share that to your students. So I have another computer set up behind me, which I'm actually going to use as my student device. So what I'm going to do here is actually connect to the computer behind me, and this will allow me to show you the student's view as well. Okay, so this is the student computer here. So what I'm going to do is launch Google Chrome again, and I'm just going to take the URL from our session and actually just paste this directly into the browser. This will take me straight into the session with my code already inserted. So the student just needs to enter their name, and then when they log in, you'll see over in the top left hand corner the teacher's video feed and the teacher's audio. So once you're connected here, we can now show both the displays together. So what I will do is just minimize this display down a little bit so you can see both the student and also the teacher at the same time. Okay, so let's just reduce this down a little bit. So this is our teacher view over here behind the student view. So just to illustrate that, let's just add a text box. Okay, and you'll see that the text will display on both the teacher screen and the student screen at the same time. Okay, so right now we have one student connected. So if I want to add more students, just for testing purposes in this demonstration, what I can do is actually go in and paste the same code in multiple times. So let's just add some more just so we can see our students as they populate. And as you'll see over on the teacher view here, these are adding in live as we connect them to the session. Okay, so you can have as many students as you want connected. There's no real limitation here. It's really just down to having the browser access and actually the bandwidth requirements just for you to have multiple connections at once. So now we've got 4 students connected. 1, 2, 3, 4. So all of these students appear in the student list, as you can see here on the teacher view. So at the moment we're in a list view, and this shows us all of our students in this vertical list here. Now just underneath the list view, you'll see that we have a new feature, which is the ability to use a chat function inside myViewBoard. So we have at the moment 4 huddles that are set up, as well as a public chat. So if I click on public chat here as a teacher, and I'll just say hello class, what we can do is on the student view, click across here to our chat room button, our chat room icon, click on the public chat, and you can see here that we have our chat, and I can reply as the student, and that will allow me to communicate and ask questions via text. So you don't necessarily need to, be talking all the time through, through webcam and microphones. So this is a new feature which is part of the UI. And as you'll see here, we've also got separate chat rooms for the different huddles, which we'll get onto in a moment. Okay, so what I would like to do is actually get some content onto our teacher's canvas, our teacher's presentation screen. So there's a few ways that we can do that now on the latest version of myViewBoard Classroom. And one of these is actually to bring in existing worksheets from your Google Drive. So what I'm going to do is click on the magic box. I'm going to go to my Google Drive folder, and I'm just going to find my teacher worksheet, which is here. I'm just going to press this little arrow, which is now going to ask me if I want to import this into the canvas here. So there's only one page to choose from here, so I'm just going to press on import. And if we just bring our student view back as well, once this is connected, you'll see it updates all of our student devices all at the same time. And now we have our teacher's worksheet or teacher's presentation that's shared to all of the students. So what I can do now is go through the lesson for today, go through the topic, which is the major internal organs of the human body, explain what I want the students to do and learn, and then maybe to test their understanding, to evidence their learning, we can set them tasks to complete in their individual groups. So the way this works is we have different views for the different screens that are available for each of the huddles. So down on the bottom toolbar here, we have a little button that looks like 4 squares. If I press that as the teacher, this allows me to actually navigate to each of the different huddle spaces. So we have the main teacher presentation here, which is called ViewBoard main. We've got huddle 1, huddle 2, huddle 3, and huddle 4. So just for illustration purposes, I'm going to actually add the number for each huddle into the top corner over here. So this is actually number 1. Let's go to huddle number 2 and do the same. Let's just draw a 2 there. Let's go to huddle 3 and draw number 3. Huddle number 4, we'll put number 4. So now it's very, very easy for me to navigate around and know which huddle that I'm looking at. So at the moment, all of the students follow the teacher. So as I move to huddle 1, all of the students also move to huddle 1. So you'll see here that each student is seeing exactly the same screen as the teacher. Again, if I move, say, to huddle 4, you'll see that everybody that's connected to the session will move and see huddle 4. So in order to make it so that all of the students only see their individual huddles, there's a toggle button, which is this one down on the bottom of the UI. This one switches to follow the teacher or to see the individual huddles for the students. Okay, so if I press this toggle button, you'll notice that my students' view changes to show which huddle they're in. And in order for the teacher to see which huddle they're in, you need to press this huddle button down the bottom here. So pressing this icon will actually add this into the huddle view, so the teacher can see all the students and which huddle they have been allocated to. If we press this button at the side here, this puts it back into the list view that we had earlier. So within the huddle view, we can see we've got different students in different huddles. And that's reflected on the number that you see here. So each student is actually in a separate huddle. And these huddles, I've already created some worksheets that allow me to differentiate the type of tasks that I give to my students. So we have one extra that we need to add content to, which is group number 4. So what I'm going to do as a teacher is go across to my ViewBoard selector here, so I can choose which view I'm looking at. I'm going to go over to number 4. I'm just going to do the same thing as I've done with the teacher presentation, and that's just to find the worksheet that I want to give to this student. So I'll find the one that I'm happy with. I'll just drag that to the canvas or insert it. And then as you can see, I've now updated huddle number 4 with a worksheet that I can then allow all of the students to work on. So at the moment, you'll see as we go through, the tools are actually disabled. There's no option for the student to write on the canvas at the moment. And the way we change that is by going over to this button here, and we can press on the little pencil tool, and this will turn on the edit functions for all of our different students. So now the student can actually go in there and start to annotate and do their work. And then this will be updated in real time to the teacher. So while the students are working, I can press on my view selector here. If we just minimize the student view, I can see as the annotations are coming in, as things are being created, I can see and access individual students. And this gives the teacher the ability to provide any feedback, maybe to put a chat in the chat room if things are not going according to plan, or you can even annotate directly over and provide some marking. So if at any point a student wants to ask a question and speak to you directly, if you're not in a physical classroom environment, you're actually remote, you're working from home or learning from home, the student can actually ask the question by raising their hand. So if the student presses the hand raise button here, you'll see that it goes to an amber or yellow orangey icon. This then shows me an indication that Huddle 1 has student 2. that he's asking a question. So at the moment, I won't be able to hear the student. If I click this and it turns green by pressing the speak button, then this will allow the student to ask me a question. So this will be a live audio stream now between the two. So as I'm using the same computer, you can hear the delay. So that second voice is the student. As soon as that question has been answered, then the teacher can simply mute the student, and then I can unmute them a bit later on, or you can just press the unmute button, which will kick them out of the session. So once that question's been answered, you can remove them from the notifications and carry on as normal. Okay, so this wraps up the live demo part of this live video. Just going to take this opportunity just to recap on some of the key changes in this version of Classroom. So the first thing, of course, is we now have the name from Virtual Classroom to just myViewBoard Classroom. So that's to present this as a solution for the physical classroom as well as the virtual classroom or remote classroom environment. We now have our public chat and also huddle chat room so that you can message each other during your session, ask questions. We've got a slightly different interface down the bottom here between the toggles between the teacher and the student view. So now we're following the teacher. If I press on the teacher presentation, it will update all of my students. And again, if I switch this toggle back, you'll see that it puts everybody into their respective huddle. So this really switches between follow the teacher or see your individual huddle groups. Okay, then we have the option to turn on and off the edit access, the write access for the students to actually add their annotations. So turning this on and off allows you to enable and disable everybody that's connected. There's also an option to do that for each of the huddles and also individually for each student. So these pencil icons are always going to be for the write access for the tools. Okay, and then over here we have our selector for the different huddles that we're using. This allows the teacher to just really easily move around and see what the students are doing in each space. So if I just minimize the student view, we have some big updates in the Magic Box. So we've added the interactive animations and widgets, so you can download those into the canvas. You can also add external web links now. So if you want to send your students to an external website for research, you can add the links here and bring these onto the canvas. You can embed your YouTube videos as well onto the canvas and play those back. You've got your Google Drive integration. So this allows you to bring in all sorts of different images, PDFs, PowerPoint files, etc. So you can import your existing resources that you've already got in Google Drive. And we've also got, of course, Google Image Search as well. So you can bring in your content from Google Image. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was if you wanted to record the video of your session, maybe for use later on or for asynchronous learning where you want the students to maybe go through this presentation in their own time. We also have the record option here at the top. So you can record the entire screen into a video file. And this allows you to use this as a presentation tool and make the video content available as a file afterwards. So just press the button to present you with the share options. So we can upload to Google Drive our video file, we can share it via a QR code or just download it. Okay, so there's my video file that I've downloaded. And we also have the option here to actually capture a screenshot. So I can capture a screenshot of my board or any of the applications that I have available at the moment. So here's my worksheets here. Let's take a screen capture for that. And as you'll see now, it's going to add to the whiteboard as a screen. So this allows you to really quickly and easily bring content in from other applications that you don't necessarily have access to through the browser or through myViewBoard. Okay, so that is it for this updated version of Classroom. So thanks for watching, thank you for your time, and see you in the next one.